gentlemen, but we are back once again to travel forward at 88 nerds per hour to see what kind of fun and shenanigans and dire circumstances are developing on the Expanse. We have guest co-host Benicio del Toro back with us. How are you doing today, Benicio?
Doing great.
That's awesome.
Once again, like you said, we are back. Demanded by no one.
But appreciated by everyone, hopefully.
Yes, hopefully.
Well,
we just could not get enough of these awesome shows, man.
Oh, dude, I'm absolutely loving The Expanse. Like, this show has me going and has me sitting on the edge of my seat, and when stuff begins to develop, it just absolutely... I don't know, I was nerdgasming all over the space battle in CQB.
Yeah, man. I want to say too, like, you know, I'm not gonna give away, like, I don't know how you're going to structure the spoilers and all that, but I will say that, like, the first 2 episodes, I was like, okay, I'm listening.
As far as spoilers go, if people are here watching us and they're here to chat with us, they should have already watched episodes 3 and 4, because we watched it blind. I don't have any. I don't know anything that happens beyond the end of the episode of CQB. I know nothing. So
but I'm just saying,
I can't spoil anything.
Yeah, like I said, the first 2 episodes, I was like, okay, I'm listening. You know, let's see what you got. These 2 episodes, I'm like, all right, I'm in. I like this. Like, I really liked these 2 episodes. Like, you got me for at least the end of this season.
I was already hooked. I'm even more hooked now. Just to see the space battles and the way that they did them, and is it just me? Are we seeing like big screen level special effects, box office level special effects in TV shows that are coming out on streaming services now? Is that just me, or is anybody else blown away at how amazing these things are?
We are. Yeah, we are.
Absolutely amazing. Now, I know that since we're both going through this, you know, we're trying to watch it blind, jump in here in the podcast, you know, same day that we watched it blind, took some notes, wrote down things that we liked, kind of tracking, you know, roughly the overall of what's going on with the story. But I know that you have been digging our boy from The Punisher, and I know that you have been really into what Mr. Detective Joe Miller's been into. So what big things did you notice across, say, episode 3, Remember the Can't? What kind of developments did you notice? What kind of things did you particularly like about what was going on with Detective Miller?
Well, I'll kind of continue on a point that I made in the last episode we did, is that this guy's a freaking mystery, man. Like, I still can't quite get a bead on him, like what his deal is, like what his motivations are, you know, which is rare in a TV show, especially a cop in a show. Yes. Cops in shows usually have like 4, maybe 5 archetypes. This guy doesn't really seem to fit into any of them. You know, he's not like the by-the-book guy. He's not the super crooked cop, you know. He's not even really like the renegade, plays by his own rules but gets shit done. Like, he kind of touches on that a little, but he's not that either. Like, he's a truly original character. And as I always say, like, that's originality is freaking refreshing.
Would you say that maybe an archetype of cop, kind of like Sean Connery out of The Untouchables, right? He knew all the corruption that was going down. He knew what was going on, when and where it was going on. But he kind of used that knowledge to understand the bigger game and kind of just, you know, navigate his way around trouble to have his normal life throughout it. Would you say maybe that's kind of where Joe Miller falls into? Because I can't quite tell if he's got like an ulterior motive, like a sinister ulterior motive, or if he's just kind of like Sean Connery of The Untouchables, you know, just trying to kind of mind and keep his own, you know.
I mean, it definitely seems like that's what he's doing because he does seem to be aware of a lot, and he's connected to like a lot of the ongoings and stuff.
Hmm.
But there's just something that, like it just leaves me wanting. I want more. Like I want more Miller. Like what do you got? And like, uh,
You want a deeper look into him.
yeah.
Greetings, Avengers.
Like what's his fascination with Earth's
Identify the location
style,
of another shield
with like
vault.
clothes and stuff?
AIM appears to be in the area. Likely
May,
seeking
may,
the same-
maybe good old Tommy just, you know, misses getting to dress all swank like when he was an FBI agent.
Also, he hasn't arrested a single person yet.
He arrested the guy that was messing with him in the bar. That showed off his fused vertebrae.
Did he?
Yeah, he took him in.
Did he actually arrest that guy?
Well, I mean, he took him out the bar, put him in cuffs. I just kind of... Well, actually, no, he probably didn't, because you're right, he hasn't arrested anybody else. The kid that's stealing water didn't arrest
Yeah,
him.
even when he cuffs him and takes him out, he usually takes him somewhere. And he's like, "Get the hell out of here! I'll beat your ass." Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like he's mostly focused on keeping the peace.
yeah, exactly.
He's real friendly with the Belters. He knows their language and their customs, because, you know, he is one.
He is a
Most
Belter,
likely
born and
ward of the
raised.
state. Or station, not ward of the state.
Mhm.
Now, he's still an enigma. Like, I can't...
Yeah.
What I'm most bugged about him throughout this whole 2 episodes and so far is, what is it about Juliet Andromeda Mao's disappearance? What is it about this particular case that's just got him going up a wall? Like, he just can't set it down. It's almost like I can't tell if he kind of sees like a bigger picture of what's going on between like the OPA and Mars and the UNN, or if it's something personal. I can't put my finger on it, but
I think this is my prediction. I guess I don't know if we're gonna, but I think she reminds him of someone that we've yet to be introduced to. Like maybe he used to have a kid or a little sister or just a friend.
okay, let me write this down here.
That's my thoughts on it.
Inicio predicts Mao reminds Miller of someone personal. Alright, we got that down. Oh, and just to mention a prediction here real quick. Holden was running from a military background.
And he was dishonorably discharged.
Yes, he was. But we will get to that in the episode of CQB.
Yes. But yeah, kudos on that one.
It's a guess, it's a theory, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
we can say we got supporting evidence, but at the end of the day, you know.
Them defecting to Mars still hasn't been ruled out. I'll say that.
True, because they are technically with, you know, on board to be headed to Mars.
Right.
But back to.
Yes.
Is there some wires or something right here?
You should scout the nearby area.
Wires.
Oh, that's just a graphical glitch.
Yeah, in the episode we were talking about, I forgot the name of it. Not CQC. Oh, Remember the Cant. Yes.
Remember the Cant.
One thing that I did notice I thought was kind of cool and kind of funny is that he is still living in this missing girl's apartment and like using her water rations and stuff to shower.
When your signal detector picks
Well-
up the vault frequency, follow it to reach the vault location.
Wait, is he? I thought he was.
Yeah.
I thought he just did that for that one episode.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking too. But in this episode, you see him like just chilling on her couch when he gets a phone call, and he's like, "What?" Like he's just at home, like he's staying there. He's staying there.
I mean, hey, you know, if his water rations are out, you know.
Oh yeah, like and that shows too. Like he's an opportunist, scavenger by nature.
Look for a chest with gear nearby.
I mean, aren't all belters somewhat have to be resourceful, which would involve, you know, learning how to scavenge and, you know, if you see an opportunity, you kind of have to seize it, right? You know?
Oh yeah.
Opportunities may not necessarily come by very often for belters.
Oh, I do the same thing, for sure. If I was like a PI or something, and I was like looking for a missing person, and you know, like and I could just stay in their place, it was 29 miles with no consequence. Why not?
Well, I mean, also, if you think about it, it's kind of a smart move, because if somebody, say, comes to look for her, or like erase some of her files or something, you know, you're there, you're ready to go.
Or, you know, like, hoping and prayer not gonna happen, but just maybe she comes home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
then you still have to, as he said, kidnap her and return her to her parents.
Right.
Kidnap job, my pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
We have a DNA chest up here.
Nice. And there's a silver chest.
But, I mean, I don't know, I didn't even notice that, honestly. I kind of missed that. I'm glad you pointed that out. I thought he was just in a, because you know that, and at the, I think towards the end of episode 3, remember the Cant, he's in like the police station, like using a police terminal where he's got that like weird whiskey or bourbon or whatever that like curves through the air as he pours it into the glass, which I want to know how that happens, man. Like, how do you do that,
hey,
right?
Can you remove that ping before we get like far away from it?
Good thinking.
Because we got a lot of stuff.
We do.
But yeah,
Going left.
on that note too, there's a lot of cool tech in these episodes that I was like noticing, like, dude, like I was nerding out on a lot of the tech in the background and stuff.
What did you think of some of the tech that he uses to investigate? Okay, I think the vault is over here, so we're actually going to go right, all the way to the right, and then we'll work our way around. But what did you think of some of the tech that he used to investigate what was going on?
I definitely liked a lot of it. Bear in mind, I don't exactly recall which pieces of tech and which parts of the investigation took place in which of the episodes. But
that's cool. Just talk about any of the tech that you've seen that you liked. I really like that little handheld device that he's got. It's like a phone scanner key thing.
Yeah. I like like when he was sitting on the couch too, and like he was like brought up this whole like little Iron Man-esque hologram of like the map of the system. You know, like, you know, possible destinations. You know, and, you know, looking at footage and all this stuff. Like while he's just sitting there.
Like having a chart course of the ship and everything.
Yeah, man. Like that's nice. That's handy. I really liked the autopsy vending machine thing. Like,
oh, where it did like the whole scan and let you know what was what, and you could just kind of look around and see what everything was.
Yeah. And speaking of that, the dead guy that they were doing an autopsy on had all those like cybernetic enhancements and stuff, and that was super cool. He had like an anonymity chip thing, so like whenever someone was doing an autopsy on him, like it would throw off, you know, like the identity, so he couldn't get like busted for crimes anytime he was scanned.
Oh yeah. See, I think that was an ID spoofer, and then he had a memory crypt, which is like a storage drive built into him.
Yeah, for like sensitive info, like in his leg or something. He had what else did he have? He had like 6 or 7. Yeah, he had like 6 or 7 different like cybernetic enhancements, and they said too, like these aren't cheap. Like this guy was successful.
Oh yeah. I mean, any kind of, even if you look in any kind of like cyberpunk dystopian universe, futuristic type of setting, any kind of modification like that is always expensive. When you're looking at Avatar, you know, he's going to get a set of like, you know, new kind of like cybernetic legs. Well, he's got to go survive and serve on Pandora to be able to get that, because it's super expensive. stuff in Blade Runner.
One of our shield
Same kind of
allies
deal.
is could use some
Yep.
Ghost in the Shell.
Right.
I'd imagine Cyberpunk, even though I haven't played and know nothing of
Let's do this
Cyberpunk.
by the book.
Same. I'd say it's a safe assumption, though.
But my favorite thing so far has been his little cell phone key thing that he can use to unlock stuff, download files, you know, change his
Yeah.
voice pattern.
Yeah, for sure.
I would imagine if like some kind of like facial ID or eye scan thing come up, he could also use it to replicate that somehow.
Right. I also like the graffiti tool that Tagger was using.
Oh yeah, you just kind of wave it over there and just kind of
Yeah.
puts it up there, and it's
like-
still paint too. It's still paint because
Yeah,
he
it
was
was
able
paint. That was it. Yeah. That was paint. It wasn't like etching or like power washing or anything like that. Like it
to
was
wasn't
paint.
lasered on there.
Right. Like it was really cool. Like they did a lot of really cool stuff with like the tech. I'm trying to think of some other stuff.
Now, of course, I know a lot of people might be screaming at their, you know, computers or phones. Not necessarily screaming, but maybe commenting, you know, or just kind of lurking in the background, having the thought, how come these guys aren't talking about any of the ship stuff just yet? But don't worry, we're going to be talking about that technology coming up in the next episode.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to focus on like on your person tech at the moment.
Yeah, like maybe quality of
stuff
life
you-
stuff, right?
Yeah, the stuff you're carrying around with you.
Trying to think of other stuff that I've seen. It's not really all that cool. It's just kind of cool how they. Oh, hey, there's another chest down here. Right
Yeah,
below
I
the
just saw
thing.
it too.
But something else I thought that was kind of cool because it's not anything magnificent. It's just kind of nifty how it's been compacted. But the guy trying to incite the riots, like the preacher on the streets,
Mm-hmm.
that guy. I think his character's known as like a gaunt builder or something like that. But
Right.
I like his little device where he can just kind of talk and shout, and it just like perfectly amplifies his voice to carry as
Yeah.
far as he needs it to without getting like too loud
Yep.
and having that distortion. And I thought that was pretty
Also, I
nifty.
noticed too. I'm pretty sure that's like a police issue thing that he hasn't stolen one. Because you
I can see
see,
that.
I forgot her name, Mess or Moss or something. You see her use it to try to disperse a crowd.
Well, she pulled out her little phone thing like Miller's got, and
Yeah.
it like took over the local PA system. And they also have drones that move around the area, and those guys I would
okay.
imagine also have
Okay.
speakers on them too. His was
Okay,
like
so it's a
just like
different
putting a
device.
megaphone up to your face.
Yeah, but it is cool. I do agree. Like that was a cool thing.
They're
Definitely
both
useful for,
absolutely.
inciting riots.
Well, yeah, but I mean he's, you know, since when has, you know, any kind of, you know, religious expression ever been clean cut? You know, as Miller
Right.
says. Or wasn't Miller? It was somebody else. I think it was another guy.
No, it was. I don't think we got a name on that guy.
Just
I'm interested in that character though.
just like that random security officer.
No, it was the guy that said that was the guy that the Mormons, the Church of the Latter-day Saints, hired to
Oh,
build their ship so that
Yes.
they can go get their own planet. And
We
I
did
gotta
get an
say,
that
Oh, did
is,
we?
according to X-Ray, that is Colonel Frederick Johnson.
I liked him. I'm interested to see what happens with him.
Well, I mean, we know he's working with the OPA.
Yes, he's OPA, and he's also heading up a project for the Mormons. And I gotta say, I'm pretty happy to see that the Mormons are still up and around in the 22nd century.
Close to your location.
Why the Mormons
I gotta
specifically?
hit. Yeah, dude. Specifically the Mormons. The Church of the Latter-day Saints.
Why
And I gotta
specifically
tell
are you
you,
happy
man,
to see the Mormons still successful in that day and age?
like, okay, and I'll just say this, First off, disclaimer, nothing I say is any indication that I am right. These are just my words.
Yeah.
But I like Mormons. Like, they're good sports. And I know this is kind of a weird statement, but I feel like it's one of the more less feasible ideologies in the world of religion. The Church of the Latter-day Saints is kind of looked down on by other denominations and other religions. They're considered to be like foolish, but like they're such good sports about it. Like they really are. Okay, South Park. Give you a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
South Park did an episode on the Church of Scientology.
So it's
which,
just kind of from how a standpoint of silliness of, or your opinion, the silliness of their views.
Well, that's just part of it.
Okay.
Cause, like as I say, like South Park did an episode on the Church of Scientology.
Yeah.
And it was like going over like their basic tenets, and then it was also like poking holes in it because it's South Park and that's what they do.
Oh yeah. And there's a lot of holes to poke in Scientology.
Right. And the Church of Scientology's response was very, very negative. They did not like the fact that they did that at all. Like it was a big deal to them. South Park also did a special called The Book of Mormon, in which they did the exact same thing to the Church of the Latter-day Saints. And the Church of the Latter-day Saints response was they showcased this episode of South Park at a local theater and stood outside as people left and said, if you liked what you saw about the Book of Mormon and you'd like to learn more, here's some literature which you can check it out. Like, it's just like, you go, man. You go get it. Like,
they stay dedicated.
Yeah, man, and they're still in the 22nd century and they're still wearing the exact same clothes. Like, I love it.
And if you think about it, they're so successful that they are actually, because essentially what's going on, and that's in the next episode of CQB, but just to give a little blurb on that real quick. Essentially what they're doing is they're having a ship built, the Nauvoo, and it is a colony ship of sorts that is supposed to carry a group of what they consider to be like the top minds of Mormon in that universe. And they're going to send them on a 100-year journey to a different solar system to start a new
And
colony.
they're gonna have their own colony, their own planet. And also, I know I kind of brushed on it, but I'm just kind of a disclaimer I do want to say. I'm not disparaging Mormons or the Church of the Latter-day Saints, especially any that may be watching this.
Yes.
Feel free, if I ever come with you, if we ever meet, feel free to poke any holes in any of my opinions. I love being disagreed with.
Yes.
But it's just...
Debate is a good thing. Debate is a good educator.
Yes. I just like finding humor in things, and I just thought it was an interesting take. And
It is definitely an interesting take. Me, I just when I heard that it was the Church of Latter-day Saints, my first thought was, oh dear God, are all the religions in the future doing this now? Is this just like the thing to do? Like, this is not going to be a good
have
thing.
A Planet Per denomination. You got Jehovah's Witnesses in this solar system. You got the Baptists over here, the Catholics over here.
You got the Methodists over here, the Presbyterians, the Pentecostals, and then
Yeah.
I was just like, is this like really the thing?
And then what happens? Does the Pentecostals break apart and the apostolic Pentecostals go to the moon of that planet? Like, I'd be like, oh, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah, I mean, do we separate like sub-denominations with planets and moons? Are we doing it like on a continent type basis?
yeah,
Are we?
the Lutherans are on the moon of the Catholicism planet. I mean,
Yeah, like I mean, what are we doing here? Are we?
and there seems to be an unprecedented move in the show, which I thought was pretty cool. So it's like the Mormons are the first ones on the ball with this idea.
Yes. I
Like,
thought
they're
that
getting it done.
Yeah, they are highly motivated and highly organized, right? I thought that was something I found to be pretty hilarious too. Now, in the same episode that we've been seeing, same couple episodes we've been seeing, Detective Miller continue his investigation. How he figured out that the dude had the ID spoofer when they did all that is that he went looking for a guy named, what was it, Busy Batico.
Yeah.
And looking for Busy Batico, who he believed to be an acquaintance of Juliet Mao's.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I do not know how she and the scopuli seem to be at the center of everything. I also have no clue what was going on with the very first thing we saw, that surreal scene of like an engine core and a person materializing and then dematerializing in like the field around the engine core. She lets out a blood-curdling scream. Obviously she's in overhead and doesn't know what she's got herself into. But like, what's going on with all that? Because it seems to be all at the center of everything. And
I know, right?
outside of Mr. Miller's investigation, we ain't got nothing, you know? We don't have
We
any.
really don't. Nothing.
Now, something that does turn up as we go into CQB, I don't know if you got completely shocked by this, but with essentially something else that happens, because we do need to go back before we go into CQB. Our Donager crew with the Cantebury Tales, their message did make it to Ceres, and it did make it to Earth.
Yeah,
And
I
it
was
is causing
surprised about that.
Well, yeah, especially when Alex said their jammers were in range.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which makes you wonder, was he just talking trash? Like,
well, as we come to discover in the next episode, you know, he's speaking with some degree of technical knowledge and experience about the matter.
right, true.
But yeah, it starts creating civil unrest with all the belters on the station of Ceres, and the OPA starts, you know, getting their guys back out, preaching, you know, to get up and get into rioting and, you know, standing up for their rights, this, that, and the other, and whatnot. And Star Helix, the security force that our detectives Havelock and detectives Miller work for, gets called up to make sure that civil unrest is kept down and quelled. And, well, because people keep inciting Remember the Canterbury, the ship that was lost, these people are dead, we can't keep taking this from Mars and Earth, rioting does eventually break out, as we see. And at the very end of the episode, Detective Havelock gets impaled with what looks like some kind of concrete spike or something into a wall through the chest.
Yeah. Also, in that episode, there was like they had started like the interrogations and stuff, and like with the Holden's crew being prisoners on the Donager.
Yeah, I was getting around to that.
Oh, okay, I don't know.
Well, no, go right on ahead.
Uh,
Not a problem. I was getting ready to get into it. What was your favorite thing about that you found out from the interrogation? Start off with that for me.
Okay, first off, I want to say how prevalent and accepted the use of drugs is in these societies.
Yeah, because
Like-
he uses that little thing for memory recall enhancement, correct?
I had assumed it was like a focus enhancer. because he takes it and looks at them while he asks them questions. I assumed it was like so he could like view their like little minor ticks and stuff to determine if they were lying or not.
Okay. I mean, I could see that too. I also kind of figured from the way he starts like prattling off all this information, like especially about Holden, that he had looked at a file or something, and this was going to help him like remember it.
Right. But yeah, like there was that, and then I would say the most interesting thing for sure was the nature of Holden's family. The fact that he had 8 parents, 5 fathers, 3 mothers, and he was a genetic mix of all of them. That's a pretty new idea. Can't say I've ever seen that before.
That was definitely bizarre. But he was only gestated in one of the parents.
Yes. One of the whitest hips.
Hey, it's been wonderfully successful for making sure that societies continue for thousands of years.
Right.
Big hips.
Got that dump truck.
Hey, if you're a guy and you don't like a little junk in the trunk and you like it perfectly flat back there, I think there's something wrong with you personally. But that's just me.
Oh yeah, I would have to agree. But if you disagree, take it up in chat, bro. Let's talk.
Let's have it out.
The bait of the century.
How clickbaity can we get? Come in and find out.
Right.
But yeah, and I think I wrote down the name in the middle of a fight. I probably shouldn't be looking up a name here. But Holden's interrogation. Where did I put that? Crap. I think I actually had her name wrote down. Elise. Elise was the one with the widest hips.
Yes, Mother Elise. I'm kind of interested in the dynamic of that household also. Like, that's interesting.
Yeah, like, I wonder, like, who would be, like, the ultimate authoritarian figure, because, otherwise you got, like, so many opportunities for him to be able to play, like, off the, oh, this parent didn't give me the answer I want, let me go ask one of the other 7,
Yeah, he thought Mommy Daddy was in the game before, and, I mean...
Just wait till you see Holden's family.
Yeah. He's playing for keeps.
Well, what did your other mothers and fathers say?
Right. Well, 2 said yes, 1 said maybe, the other one was asleep.
Just imagine when the teacher
every
tries
time
to
you
send
break
something
curfew,
home.
imagine like every time you break curfew, you're confronted with a panel interview. Like,
all right, now, what did Joe tell you, and then what did Bob tell you? What have we told you?
Also, I thought it was interesting that he was dishonorably discharged for assaulting a superior officer, but he also maintained that he did not technically assault the officer because his punch missed,
and he broke his
hand on the bulkhead.
I love that. And that confirms my theory. Point 1 for me. How do we open this door?
I know, right? Let me tag this.
I'm not seeing any floor panels. I'm not seeing any switches. Oh, back here. Never mind.
Wow.
Go us. Now there were those punchy buttons around that other place we were just a second ago. Did we ever do anything with that?
I think we did.
Oh well. Now, something I really liked, my favorite thing that we discovered out of the interrogations is kind of after everybody's been interrogated. They're still aboard the Donager, The Donager, at this point, just to kind of fill in the gap between the two episodes, knows that there's an unidentified ship approaching it, and it's not responding to hails. There's like no IFF, right? No idea of who it is or what faction would be coming at him, and it's approaching, I guess, as fast as it's able to. So this is why they're interrogating everybody, because they believe that, they're OPA people, and that they're, the OPA is trying to start a war between Earth and Mars. Kind of what Christian thinks too. Too bad she doesn't get to talk to the people on Mars, really, because it seems like they would have a lot of the same ideas.
Right.
Because she spends the entirety of Remember the Cant of trying to uncover, what Mars might be doing, and she uses an ambassador friend of hers to kind of cause a little bit of alarm. And then through monitoring the MCRN intelligence networks, the UNN was able to determine that, hey, they've got some more stealth development bases that we didn't know about. And Christian says, well, we can pretty much rest easy. The rest of the administration says, why? And she's like, well, they're having to take inventory. They've been told there's stuff that's missing, so they're having to look to see what's missing. We know they didn't do it.
And see, this is the issue with like governments not communicating with each other, because
they're in a Cold War standoff.
I know that. I know. Just hear me out.
Okay.
If you had two groups of reasonable people and they were in this situation, and then you find out, okay, they're taking inventory, we can rest easy. That would be, at that point, it would be like, okay, no harm, no foul, no cause for war, we're all is well. But the reality is that even though she said, we can rest easy, and they're all sitting there saying, Earth knows Mars didn't destroy the Canterbury, and Mars knows that Mars didn't destroy the Canterbury. The only ones that don't seem to know it yet are the Felters. The fact is that a war between Earth and Mars is still quite likely.
Yes, to a certain extent, but we do get to see between the two episodes that there are factions, at least, if not the entirety, there's at least a faction on both sides that is working to prevent war. We see this coming out of Captain Yao. She wants Holden to witness everything, so he knows for a fact Mars had nothing to do with it.
Right.
And then once they realize that, hey, the ship is the Donager is heavily damaged from the battle with that one ship that was incoming. That turned out to actually be 6 ships, 6 stealth frigates that were exactly like the ship that destroyed the Canterbury.
Yeah.
And that is, as Vinicio and I were discussing before we kicked it live, I really like the name of that ship, or the class of that ship, because it is known as the Amon-Ra class stealth attack frigate. At least as far as I've been able to tell online. That's from other people in fandom that have been watching the show since day one and have been doing their own stuff,
And let's be honest, if you can drop a name of a class of a ship in a sci-fi show and not get a hurricane of correction, you probably got it right.
Yep.
If Stargate, Star Wars, Star Trek, Farscape,
Battlestar Galactica, Babylon 5, The Expanse now.
If any of those shows have taught us anything, it's that if you're wrong, you're going to be made aware of it.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. And, these things are highly advanced, right? So the Donager is facing down 6 opponents. They think it's just like some attack frigates, And I love how they use the different kinds of weapons, because if you noticed at one point, they were too close for torpedoes, but they were now close enough for missiles.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And I love that.
Captain, they're in missile range. Torpedoes were not functional or something like that.
They're too close for torpedoes.
Missiles. Yeah.
And that's
And,
because
and
if I'm not mistaken, just from on our own planet, torpedoes, you know, they're a longer range weapon, and you need to have a better intercept vector because they are not nearly as able to adjust course as like a missile would be able to.
right.
And then when they got into CQB, they pulled out the rail guns.
Yeah.
Oh no, those were PDCs. Those were personal defense cannons. We have things like that on our super carriers in the Navy. Have you ever heard about those little minigun things that they have? That if anything's incoming and it's like the size of a postcard or bigger, this minigun can lock onto it and spit out over 3,000 rounds a minute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what those PDCs were. That was like the anti-air fire. That was like their flat cannons. The rail guns were the things that had like the lightning, and then it launched the straight bolt and it like blew right through the one ship.
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
And all those things are essentially are really powerful magnets, and you're hurling just a solid small projectile. That's all you're doing. It's like the most advanced gun you could ever come up with.
I love the whole time too, like the Canterbury survivors are like in the brig, and they're just like, "What is that?" And you got the one guy, Alex, who was a former member of the Martian Navy,
Yes.
and he was like, "This is battle lighting. Must be a drill." Okay, that sounds like firing torpedoes. I don't
Sounds
think
like they're
this is a
firing a
drill.
lot of torpedoes.
Yeah. Okay, now they're finding railguns. We're in CQB. Who in their right mind would enter CQB against the Doniger?
He's just like going crazy, and who was it? Amos. Amos points out like, I thought you were some big military hotshot pilot or something. I flew shuttles, man. I was a glorified bus driver. Is that what you want, Hoss? Are you happy
Right.
now? I love Alex. I love his whole like southern demeanor and style. I love it.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing we found from the interrogations is when Amos looks over at Shed, when Shed's like trying to calm everybody down and like, well, you know, they haven't said anything that's a lie yet. And Amos is like, well, what about you? I was told you faked your medical record so you could sign up on the can as a doctor to get away from a drug dealer that wanted to kill you on Earth. Well, yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, that's true. Because he was saying that, you know, because they were talking about Naomi being
An
OPA,
OPA spy.
and that was the thing, you know, as they're trying to get in everybody's head, like, she's OPA. And he's like, well, is she? You know, they haven't lied about anything else. And then, you know, that was when they had that exchange. He's like, yeah, man, that's the truth. And
I love
man,
how she has 2 degrees in advanced fusion design.
yeah, man.
Like, not only is she a
And I
hard
like-
ass,
I
but
like
she's
her
super smart.
I liked her explanation. I took free tutorials and tested out.
Yeah. Dude, that was great, man. Like, I really, really like that about her character.
Code verification entry verified.
I love how she's just kind of, I don't want to say lazy, but just like really laid back, you know, has
Yeah.
simple ambitions and just does what she loves and loves what she does and doesn't have to, you know, flaunt how genius she is.
Hauling ice.
Commencing trace authentication.
I mean, hey, she kind of gets to do what she loves, work on engines, right?
Right.
Doesn't have to deal with any kind of crap like she knows she would if she was in, say, the UNN or the MCRN.
Right. Also, I gotta say, I had a very heartbreaking moment in this episode.
What was that?
Shed.
Yes, yes. Give me just a second, and we will get
I
to
know.
shit.
I'm not spilling the beans there. I'm just saying. Like,
Well, my whole favorite aspect of both of these shows was seeing the Doniger, was seeing the space battle, and it was getting to see the science of everything. That has been probably one of my
Yes.
favorite aspects when it comes to the technology, as we were discussing earlier. I'm a sucker for space battles. Star Wars, I love the space battles. Star Trek, I love the space battles. Battlestar Galactica, I love the space battles.
Stargate Atlantis, later seasons of SG-1.
They have some pretty good ones, especially when they start getting into the fights with the Ori.
Yeah.
I was always one of my biggest disappointments in Stargate SG-1, since we're doing that on Rewind and Renerd, is we never really see the Asgard get into a fight.
Right.
That's my biggest disappointment. Out of everything in that show, that's my biggest disappointment.
They
You
either
never get to
instantly
see-
blow something up, or they instantly get blown up.
or they invent some high-tech device to deal with the problems, so they don't have to
Right.
even get involved in a conflict, right?
Right.
2's in the next room, by the way.
Code verification entry verified.
Alright, 3 will be on the other side, so I'll head over there.
There's no such thing as
Code
two.
verification
But
entry verified.
what starts it all off, because we see the ship coming in at the end of episode 3, Remember the Cant, after the riots have broken out. Christian has averted civil war. She's lost a friend because, you know, she, as her friend said, the ambassador Mars, at least you had the, you know, the courtesy to stab me in the chest.
That was a good line too.
Oh yes, it was. But with all that going on, we still have the Donager having to deal with these stealth friends because somebody is trying to make it seem like Mars is trying to start a war. And as part of all this, these 6 stealth attack frigates come in towards the Donager. Well, as we know from Alex's comments, the Donager fires torpedoes back, and they ready what are known as personal defense cannons, which are miniguns instead of flak cannons, because flak, you know, an explosion of a shrapnel cloud in space, not really going to help you defend yourself as, say, you know, shooting the projectile with you. So that's why they use the miniguns as personal defense cannons. They defend themselves against a long-range torpedo barrage from the 6 stealth attack frigates. They return fire, knock one of the frigates out with their initial volley. The frigates then move into closer range combat, where they get involved with missiles. Some damage is done to the Donager, some damage done to one of the frigates. Then the frigates get into CQB, and immediately one is taken out with a railgun, and shortly after 2 more are taken out with further railgun shots, splashing 4 out of 6. The Donager crew, feeling very good about themselves, now has to contend with the stealth frigates shooting their own railguns back at the Donager, which, the weapons officer comments, is highly unusual for a ship that small. Now, so far we have seen torpedoes, missiles, the ability to fly really close together in formation to appear as one ship, and of course, you know, they have stealth tech. But these ships are generating a massive amount of power.
Heads up. Hacker inbound.
Uh-oh. I see him. Now, the Donager is a ship that is bigger than all 6 of these combined. And this is where something I really love about the space combat comes into play in the technology. The Donager crew comments at one point that the engine core has overheated, right? And they have to shut down the reactor, which puts the Canterbury crew and the brig in 0G. The reason they had to shut down the engines is because they're overheating. Not only do you have to worry about overheating your engines in space, but there's always an equal and opposite reaction, right?
Right.
So whenever you're busting out a bunch of heat out of some thrusters, what's the opposite reaction? You spill heat inside your ship. You heat up the physical engine parts, that transfers between the rest of the bulkheads and the superstructure, and prolonged space combat, something you don't see in Battlestar Galactica, I don't think. I don't know about Babylon 5, you don't see it in Stargate, you don't see it in Star Trek, you don't see it in Star Wars, but prolonged weapons fire of you getting hit and you shooting and having to use your engines on a high burn to, you know, commit to evasive maneuvers, you're in a pressurized metal container in the vacuum of space. You're a microwave, and the more you move, the more you shoot, and the more you get hit, the more you can cook inside of your own vessel. Which is why the engines overheat and they have to shut them down. Now later on we get to see, and I know this from friends telling me about the show, but later on we're going to get to see like they end up having to have like vent heat into space in the middle of battle to try to like keep things cool enough so they can continue to move and evade enemy weapons fire. We haven't seen that just yet, but the science behind it's what really is what I really get interested in about it.
Yeah.
And it presents a whole new aspect to space warfare if you really think about it. Especially when you have like these ray shields. Because ray shields will deflect a ray beam, but the heat would still transfer. So, like prolonged phaser fire, you're going to build up quite a heat bubble around the Enterprise, right?
Right.
Especially since the ray shielding is a lot of times pretty close to the ships. Now, once the Donager, even though it's able to splash 4 out of 6 targets, as these remaining 2 stealth ships get into range, they begin to emit boarding pods, breach pods, to put boarding parties on the Donager to, invade and take over the ship. So these little stealth frigates, they're smaller than the Donager. They have comparable weaponry to the Donager. They're faster than actually, they wouldn't technically be faster than the Donager because speed in space works different than it does on like a planet.
Right.
But they're still fast, and they have stealth tech, and the ability to jam the Donager. Well, Captain Yao decides that we're going to have to scuttle the ship, but first, she orders Lopez to get Holden off of the ship. Holden forces Lopez to get the rest of the Canterbury crew to get them off the ship.
Excellent work.
Now, a railgun in space is going to continue to go through whatever object. We see it, the shot from the Donager go straight through the entirety of the stealth frigate and blow it apart. If you have a big ship like the Donager and you're getting hit by a smaller ship, even with a railgun, that shot is going to travel through the ship, but not necessarily blow you up completely, right? Because you're much bigger.
Right.
Well, as Benicio pointed out, sad day for Shed. We got to see the death of a true, genuine hero. A railgun shot penetrates all the way through the hull of the Donager into the compartment with the Canterbury crew and takes Shed's head off and exits out the other side of the bulkhead, venting his head and a lot of this blood into space. It was a chilling scene.
Yes,
when that first happened, what was your initial reaction? Mine was just like, oh, wait, what? What?
Right. I was like, oh man, like I was pretty upset about it because I really liked Shed.
I did too, especially after he stepped up and he buddy breathed with Alex and saved him, and he almost lost his own life, right?
Right, and I mean, like his death is like it's basically a limerick.
Yeah.
There once was a man named Shed who became separated from his head. Tried to calm everyone down, now he can't even frown because he's just stuck in the chair, dead.
Yep.
Or something to that effect.
That's kind of morbid that you were able to come up with a limerick like that, dude. That's.
I mean, his name's Shed. He's dead, and he lost his head. It rots itself.
I was very sad to see Shed go. That was Paulo Costanzo. He was doing a great job. I really liked his character, and yeah, I mean that was a real sad thing to see. It was very sad.
Indeed.
Now Amos, though, what do you think about Amos?
At first, I didn't really like him, but he's starting to grow on me.
Well, just to kind of backtrack, we first see him with Naomi on the Canterbury. Holden's got to get the XO up, and he asks him for a pry bar. He's like, just like make sure I get that back, right?
Right.
And then in the next episode, they're trying to fix the antenna array, and he's like, You know, Naomi's the captain as far as I'm concerned. And if you were to ask me whether I should rip off your helmet and kick you off this barge, I can't give you one reason why I should or shouldn't. Would you
Except
pass me
Naomi
the
wouldn't
drill,
like it.
please? Then he threatens to dust him, which the message does end up saving them.
Right.
And then we get into here, and it's like, since Holden's not around, he's actually kind of a decent dude, and you actually kind of like him, right?
Right.
I don't know what to think of him. I don't know what to make out. I get the gut feeling though that he's like,
Uploading the entrances.
I don't know. You ever know those people that's like, you know, they're kind of obsessed with someone, so as long as that person's around, they're okay. But otherwise, they're just kind of like, you know, like a psycho or something like that. Or just like just in general, just a massive jerk, just a massive, you know, asshole piece of crap, right?
Right.
I can't. I just get the feeling he may be like that, but I don't have anything to substantiate that. Right?
I mean, I get it.
Well, what do you think of him?
I think there's more under the surface than what we're seeing. I think that he is just a very driven person, and I think that he's someone who knows what he wants. We just don't know what that is.
Okay. I can see that. I don't think we really, from looking across my notes, across these different pages here about, you know, the interrogation, I don't think we get any real information about Amos. You know?
Right.
Did you pick up anything? I didn't get anything in my notes.
No, he didn't do an interrogation. They didn't reveal any information about him like they did some of the others. All of the others, actually. He's the only one.
He was probably still
find out
sedated
that-
the whole time, because they had to sedate him when he first got on board, because he attacked one of the dudes.
Right. We find out that Alex was Martian Navy. Shed was on the run from a drug dealer that wanted him dead. Naomi is maybe OPA.
She has a somewhat suspicious and still unclear background, but we know she's smart.
Yes. And we know about Holden's family and military service.
Yep. And I like the name of his ship, the UNN Zhang Fei. If anybody's ever played Dynasty Warriors, you know who Zhang Fei is. I don't know. I'm still kind of weirded out by Holden's whole family history. But what did you think about how they escaped? I thought Holden pulled off like something really badass to save Naomi and escape.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was pretty smart.
Yeah. And I gotta say, man, I really got a little extra layer of respect for Holden, man, because no matter what was going on, whether they were dodging bullets, you know, skating death at every turn, every time someone started talking, he was like, "Oh, by the way, I'm not leaving without my shipmates."
Oh yeah, he's stuck
They're
to
like, "We're under heavy fire." He's like, "You know what else is under heavy fire? You, if I don't get my shipmates out of here." Like,
Yep.
like he wasn't having it, man. Like,
He wasn't gonna leave him. No. That's
even though
loyalty.
they denied him several times. You know.
I really liked when it comes to Holden speaking about how his character turned around towards the end of the episode of CQB, episode number 4. You know, they get into the shuttle. You know, Lopez is bleeding out. They're like, you know, we got to get out of here. I'm not a pilot. He looks over at Alex, and he's like, "Alex, you're gonna fly this thing." He's like, "I don't know how to fly. Just shut up and fly."
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Oh, Haas, I can show you. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I really love that part with Alex.
Yeah. Be gentle, baby. It's my first time.
Be gentle with me, baby. It's my first time. I just love the boyishness in his voice when he was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Let's try to get over there, see if there's a chest, but nope. Naomi, we gotta lay down some predictions, right? We gotta lay down some predictions. Naomi, OPA spy or not? I'm gonna go with yes.
Yeah, I want to go with yes. Also, I think she is OPA. Even if she's not a spy per se, she's OPA. Or she's connected to the OPA in some way like that. Like maybe she's got an ex that was OPA, and she was like ride or die with him or something, and it didn't work out, or he died or something, or maybe like a family member.
Well, she said when talking to Amos she never got to say goodbye, so I would assume that whoever she didn't get to say goodbye to is still alive.
Right.
I would imagine. I mean, don't know, but I would imagine.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if it came out that like maybe she was OPA, if there was some type of falling out, or for some reason she's not like active or good standing or whatever it is, or it would be in the situation, you know.
Yeah, because she said she could have been better.
Because the whole thing about it like being a spy, like I can easily buy that she's OPA, but buying that she's just been a spy on that, you know, hauling ice that whole time, I don't know. Well, I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility, but I don't know how it matches with like the rest of the flow of like the writing of this show.
I don't see how she could be a spy, but at the same time, the Canterbury is the ship being used to spark a war. Or trying to spark war between the UN and Mars, but ultimately, just basically the OPA is making its own move. It's trying to get the melters to rise up, you know, throw off their shackles of oppression, step out of the shadows.
That's if the OPA are the ones that are doing this.
Well, you mentioned that guy you wanted to see more about, and I've actually kind of avoided talking about him so that way we could kind of sort of wrap up the episode. Christian, this entire time, has been interrogating OPA, who she believes to be OPA spies. You know, like there's that courier, right? She was trying to figure out where he was getting restricted stealth technology. She's the kind of character that we can see is correct from her ambassador friend, that she will do anything to win, and that is probably the most terrifying thing about her, right?
Right.
Now, at the same time, her goal and drive is to make sure that there is not a Cold War, and she believes the OPA to be the bad guys. Well, we get confirmation. She doesn't, but we get confirmation that the OPA are the bad guys. Why? Because towards the middle of episode 4, CQB, we see the Tycho station out in the belt. And this is where we see the Colonel Frederick Johnson, right? He's working with the Tycho Corporation. The Tycho Corporation is new to shipbuilding. They're just getting into designing their own ships, and they're designing the Nauvoo, the ship that's going to be the colony ship for the Mormons, for the Latter-day Saints. Now, he, at the end of that exchange, after the man leaves, he speaks into his little comm device and says, I need everybody on the Nauvoo now. I need that sensor array pointed towards the Donager. I need a full report. And he is OPA. He admits to the Mormon that he is OPA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yes.
You're
So then
right.
you know that the stealth frigates, the big ship, which turned out to be 6 ships clustered together, that destroyed... Oh, hey, we got an adapter over here. that destroyed the Canterbury, that was an OPA Amon-Ra stealth attack frame.
Yeah,
And now
you're
these
right.
6 bogeys that are coming in on the Doniger that it scraps 4 of before the absolutely, completely badass Captain Teresa Yao, played by Jean Woon, takes out 4 of them and has to scuttle her ship, which I'm really hoping she got off on a lifeboat or something. Probably not. She seems like the kind of staunch captain that's going to go down with the ship, right? But I really hope she got off. But she's got to scuttle the Doniger after the Tai Chi gets off with the holding crew and Lopez. They've built those ships. The OPA has built those ships, and that's been done, I'm guessing, at the Tycho station, since that's where they're building the Navu. Now, earlier mentioned in episode 3, I wrote this down because it was something about the economics, and we haven't seen a whole lot of that just yet. 2 companies are mentioned in the beginning when talking about, the disaster that happened to the Canterbury. The Canterbury was the P&K Canterbury, the Pure and Clean Corporation. Now, Tycho Engineering, they had a contract with the Scopuli, where our girl Jessica Mao was, where we saw the freaky thing in the engine core. The Scopuli was destroyed, or maybe not destroyed. No, actually it wasn't destroyed, but it was further damaged in the blast wave that our Canterbury crew had to escape on the shuttle pod night when the Canterbury was destroyed. At the beginning of, or when, not at the beginning, but when we see Miller in one of the scenes, he's looking over some information. He walks past a screen. He sees that the Scopuli, or the wreckage of it, is now moored on an asteroid CA2216862. So, is the OPA taking over Tycho Industries? Is Tycho Industries maybe helping the OPA to help start a war? Because if Tycho Industries is getting into shipbuilding, and they have this brand new ship, I mean, could this be some kind of economic competition kind of going on in the background, kind of stirring up civil unrest and war, for good old
Also,
money's sake?
if they are doing that, it would be a good motive to steal, Martian stealth specs.
Yes, it would. And it would also be a very good thing to control the biggest resource of water and air in, this side of the Kuiper Belt. So, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe the OPA aren't the bad guys. I'm starting to think that they're the big devil. Maybe they're just a third player that's having their strings pulled by the ultimate puppet master. Don't know just yet. But I think the OPA and Tycho Industries, or some Tycho Engineering, not Tycho Industries, but Tycho Engineering Corporation, I think they're the bad dudes. I think they're the ghost behind the curtain that Christian's been worrying about this whole time, not Mars. Don't think it is. What are your thoughts on that? Who do you think's the ultimate bad guy? And you don't have to, of course, just go off my theories. What is your running thoughts?
Man, I think that there is a faction or a group or something that we've yet to see that is responsible for all this.
Sorry, I heard a Hulk scream in my ear for just a second. What was that?
I said I think that there's a faction or a group or something that we've yet to see that is behind all this.
That's actually how I labeled the little section of my notes where I talked about the Tycho station and that one dude that's designing the ship for the Mormons, and he wants a report on the Doniger.
Right.
I circled new players, but it turns out it's the OPA who's kind of been here.
Right.
But maybe there is a faction we haven't seen just yet. I mean, we are just getting into it. It is only the 4th episode, and so far we've seen religious groups,
And-
we've seen corporations, we've seen governments.
And this seems to be like a pretty significant conspiracy, you know. And think about it, it's not outside the realm of possibility to think that, you know, okay, so by destroying the Canterbury, they have Earth think that Mars is attacking. Okay. And also on that note, they have the Belters and the OPA thinking that Mars did it as well. But, or let me rephrase that.
The
They
OPA
have
has the Belters and Mars thinking, or Belters and UNN thinking Mars did it.
Well, no. What I'm saying is like, because the OPA is stationed in the belt. They are Belters.
Well, yes, but they're stirring up the general citizenry of the Belters.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is like, let's say that an unknown faction is responsible for all this.
Okay.
They have Earth thinking that the OPA and Mars are joining forces. Right? They have the Belters and the OPA thinking that Mars and Earth are about to start raising hell and stamp them out in the process. And then, by using the same style ship, they could potentially have Mars blaming Earth for the destruction of the Donatry. And the only gum in the works in all of these is Holden.
Or possibly Mao.
Yeah, that'd be also Mao at this point. But without,
I mean,
without
we don't know
Holden,
if she's dead or alive just yet.
but Holden's the only one that has seen with his own vision both events.
Yep, which is why Captain Yao wants him off the ship.
Exactly. So he is the one thing that, you know, prevents, if that is the case, that prevents that from being a perfect conspiracy.
Yep. So, I guess you think the OPA is going to be chasing down the Tai Chi next, right? It got away, it blew its way out in that spectacular battle scene. I love the whole of the battle scene. That was honestly that was the thing I took the most notes on because I'm just a big nerd like that. And one last thing that we do kind of need to talk about and cover. Where did it go? Ah, yes. Our dear Detective Havelock. You know, may he rest in peace. Pierced to a wall. But yet, miraculously, survives.
Right.
I thought he was
At least for
dead.
now.
I thought he was dead. And then he kind of comes
he still
back.
might die, honestly.
True.
He's alive for now.
Well, I'm kind of hoping by the fact that, you know, he was, you know, left up overnight, hung up on a wall with a giant metal spike through his chest, and, you know, he's still alive the next day when, you know, some kind of, you know, the front desk lady for the local whorehouse is trying to pick his pocket. You know, I'm kind of holding out hope.
Get back in the fight.
At least I'm trying to. But I think that just about covers all the big major events.
I think it does.
And we do have one prediction moving forward. Or actually, we have two. We have Vinicio thinks that Mao is going to remind Miller of somebody, and that's why he's so hung up on the case. Both Vinicio and I think that Naomi is OPA, but not a spy. Right?
Right.
Alright. And,
The enemy is the main defeat.
well, do we have anything else we need to look at moving forward? We know that the bad guy thing was wrong. Go one, you know, score one for me for Holden's background.
I don't know.
Let's
I think
see
that
here.
covers it.
So, okay, we still got to hold out to see if Holden and Team defect to Mars. and we know that the Cold War is not over the development of stealth tech. So we still got one in the running for Vinicio. I got a point. Vinicio's got 2 more in the running. I've got 1 more. One thing I do want to predict is that Tycho is funding the OPA, and that's why the OPA is making the moves that it is, turning them into a terrorist organization, basically. I want to have that prediction down moving forward. Are there any other predictions you want to have down on the books, Vinicio?
I don't think I have any at the moment.
Do you have any big questions? Outside, of course, the enigma of Miller, because I know that's still going to be an ongoing one.
Right. I don't think so. Not at the moment.
Alright.
Nothing I haven't discussed already anyway.
Oh, real quick. Something funny about the Mormons. You notice how Havelock gave them their captain's name and number? They had the Mormon follow them around when they were kind of patrolling around the Medina. He and Miller. Trying to spread the good word. It was like, oh yeah, you can reach Captain, and he gave him their captain's name. You know, if you don't, at first you don't get him, you know, just sometimes I'm forgetful, you know, just keep trying.
Yes, I did notice that. That was pretty good. That was a classic O'Neal style break.
I love that. I loved it. But
The shutdown protocol is progressive.
I'm wondering, a big question I want answered is, you know, did Captain Yao go down with the ship? I hope not.
I think she did that.
I'm inside AIM security.
Is there anything that
AIM is trying to remove me from their system.
anybody you hope doesn't make it thus far? Anybody out of the characters that you kind of wish would just kind of already croak? We lost Shed, and that was kind of a no joy one, you know.
I'm inside AIM security.
Right. Honestly, not really.
Me, I don't know. I kind of want someone to die off or get fired, you know, so that way Christian can just go ahead and take over the government. Because at first I was worried. At first I was worried she was warmongering, right? Because that's what she seemed to be doing with
Right.
when she was torturing the dude with gravity torture. I was worried about it. And when she did, you know, what she did to her ambassador friend,
The shutdown protocol is
I was
progressive.
kind of worried. But then the entire reason that she did that was because she knew he wouldn't be harmed. Yeah, he would be exiled, right? But he wouldn't be harmed, and they would know for sure, you know, if Mars was behind it. You know, they would know for sure if Mars was the one that was giving the stealth tech to the OPA. Because, as she said, they took inventory. They had to know if they were missing something. That means they didn't do it.
Right.
I kind of want to see somebody, like, I don't know, get knocked off. Not necessarily knocked off. You know, I don't want somebody to necessarily die, but I want her to get in charge of the government. What do you think about her being in charge of the government?
Well, her tenacity is unmatched so far.
I mean, do you think that'd be a good thing? Her being in charge of the UNN?
I think it could be. But I can also see her overplaying the hand with short-sightedness.
You think she's a bit short-sighted?
Well, people that will do anything to win are typically fairly easy to manipulate.
true. Normally I would agree with you.
All you have to do is put the thought in their head that they may lose.
Do you think we've seen that? I mean, do you think she was kind of tricked and fooled into thinking Mars was going to try to break the Cold War with all the stealth tech by the OPA's moves, or do you think she was diligent enough and she was ready to what?
She was advocating to mobilize the fleet.
For a defensive posture, yes.
That would have been a bad move. Now that we know that Mars
Beginning
is
infiltration.
non-responsive.
I got you.
Do you think, had they agreed to mobilize the fleet, do you think she still would have pulled off the sneaky move that she did with her ambassador friend?
Probably not.
Okay. I can kind of see that, you know.
Beginning infiltration.
But I don't know. I think after this incident, if not before, before maybe a little questionable, but now after everything that's happened and her seeing that trick come through, I think she would make an absolutely great leader, because now she knows that no, Mars is not our enemy. OPA is our enemy. We just kind of need to keep the peace as best we can with Mars,
That helps. Thank you.
instead of necessarily assuming that they're the bad guy. But ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, boys and girls of all ages, I do want to say thank you for coming out where we once again went forward through time at 88 nerds per hour, and we will do so again next Sunday, where we will cover episodes number 5 and 6 of the Expanse.
Bring your own flux capacitors.
Prepare for flip and burn, everybody. It's going to be a high G maneuver. Strap in and have a wonderful rest of your weekend.